Hello, my name is Desiree, and this video is going to talk about some of the issues that have been coming up since Doreen Virtue's so-called angel experience. My channel, in fact, started because of the fraud and medical endangerment of Doreen Virtue. It's been an issue that I've been following for about 5 years. I wasn't a fan of hers. I went to go see Doreen Virtue because medium James von Prague decided to defraud and to hustle his trusting fan base by encouraging us to accept the full teachings of Doreen Virtue and to accept her as a teacher for us all. You can imagine my shock when I went to go hear her speak and realize that she says unwise, stupid, dangerous things that stood against the Bible, common sense, and human decency. I see a lot of people making Jesus videos and tied to Doreen Virtue, and so I figured I'd make one specifically about that. My first video I ever did was calling medium James von Prague to take responsibility for hustling us by sending us to go see Doreen Virtue's crap, and his continuing to promote her when he knew not only was she defrauding people in the name of angels, but she was risking human life. Medium James von Prague, knowing that Doreen Virtue was giving out wrong suicide information and anti-vaccine messages that could absolutely harm and kill, decided to keep hustling his consumers to her for kickbacks via Hay House. When he went to Hay House, it looks like he made a full throttle sell literally all of his ethics out. So, I used to be a member of the New Age informally. I'm not a working psychic, a working medium. I had taken classes at times, gone to a lot of lectures. I bought a whole ton of Hay House books. I've been trying to follow the different concepts, listen to, like I said, lectures, talks. I would buy cassettes of some of the talks. I paid money to go to Hay House events, and I volunteer at Hay House events. I used to make excuses for the things in the New Age that didn't line up, because I wanted an answer to the things in my own life as an intuitive. So those of you who've gotten caught up in Doreen Virtue's game and hustle, though I'm going to be calling you out for the way you didn't follow common sense and you disregarded the warning signs, I'm not calling you to do better and calling you to think about what you've done because I devalue you. I don't. I think every last one of you who may be watching my video absolutely matters as a person, as do all of your choices, as do all of your family members, and I believe it matters whether or not you receive accurate information about your health, and I do not believe that making your most significant or even seemingly insignificant choices based on a flip of a deck is anything that a saint of God would do, or a great soul. And I think every last one of you was made for greatness. I personally made excuses for things that people would say that didn't line up, and I would reject them. Yet I would still go to the New Age events where I would hear these ideas presented. So when I ask you to think about how you've done that, it's not that I'm trying to be mean or cruel to you. It's very vital that each of you who is starting to become aware of the fact that you were defrauded and hustled, that you not just move to a new guru, not just move to a new teacher, not just continue to shift your loyalty from Doreen Virtue to Radley Valentine, who's more than happy to teach you just the stupid stuff to hustle you for your money. And he's more than happy to certify you. I mean, he's selling certification classes, and Hay House is really hoping to plug him. But I'm going to talk to you as an intuitive Christian. about my own experiences, about the harm I've seen tied to Doreen Virtue, the game Hay House does, and some of the stuff Doreen Virtue is now doing after claiming her Jesus vision, okay? I never accepted Doreen Virtue as having a true gift. I could clearly see that she says stupid, wrong stuff. And when I watched her read, it was pretty clear she can't actually read people. I was able to identify, though I did not know the words for it, that Doreen Virtue was doing something called cold reading, where you look at someone and you guess things about them. And if you know enough about people, your average bartender can do that, where you can tell how old they are and you can guess kind of what life experiences. You might be, once they get them talking, to be able to tell education level, their economic class. You can tell if they have a ring on, whether they're with someone, if they're in a relationship. There's a lot of things that you can easily tell. But when I watched Doreen Virtue read, when I saw her read in Seattle, it was so apparent she had no gift of God. It was so apparent that there was nothing of God speaking to her and that she wasn't getting any psychic hits. It was so bad that at one point I went to the bathroom. I was going to check my phone. I'd taken a day off from work, and I was really nervous about what might be happening at work. I was afraid something was going to happen, which it did. I used to do security, and the day I worked, there were a bunch of break-ins. But here I was at this event, and I went to the bathroom to check my phone, and a little old lady came storming out. She was, those little petite little ladies with the gray hair. Looks like everyone's, the traditional grandmother. And she almost ran right into me. She was so mad, and she kept saying, "The bitch is a fraud. The bitch is a fraud." And I said, "What are you saying, ma'am? What's going on?" And she said, "Can't you see it?" And I said, "See what?" She said, "Can't you see that she's not getting anything from any angels? She's guessing about people, getting them talking, and then she's repeating back to them exactly what they just said, phrased differently, and claiming it's from the angels." And that's what the little old lady said to me, and that's what I affirmed to her I was seeing. Now, I was really upset that James on Prague so devalued us as his students that he set us up to be hustled and to be led to utter stupidity. He did not value me as a woman, my choices. He did not value any of the 100 other people that were from the James on Prague Mastering Mediumship class. He wanted us to buy her bullshit and her stupidity, hook, line, and sinker. He wanted me to be less of a soul and less of a mind, and to follow that which would demean my humanity. And that's what was cool for him to do to women and those who trusted his word. And most of us in his 5-day Master and Mediumship class were women. There were a handful of guys. Most of us were women. And I sat there thinking about how James on Prague had lied to me and how much he suckered us. Because he knew her tickets when we went to go see her talk live and actually read people were going to be pricey, which they were. But he was more than happy to take us for that amount of money in a trade-off where, he plugs her, she plugs him, they churn the money and screw the consumer. And I wasn't in a really good mood about this. I went to the bathroom to check my phone. I went back into the event. And it got worse. During the shared question and answer section, where John Holland and Doreen Virtue both took the stage, a black mother stood up. While everyone else was asking career, vacation, all about them, this little black woman stood up and asked about about her actively suicidal son. She wanted to know why my son's suicidal. Why? She was willing to face any reason in the world if it was her fault. She wanted to know why, because if she knew why, she could know how to fix it. She could know if it was her, if it was something else, but if you know why, you can fix things, possibly, or at least know how to address them. John Holland, though Doreen Virtue had said clearly stupid, wrong stuff, when I say stupid, like her stuff would make angels be genies in a bottle, answering your beck and call. She was literally selling spiritual gifts certifications in Simony when no one has ever bought a gift of God. Anyone who's ever gone off on me spiritually, and like one of my friends was incredibly intuitive, and I didn't tell her anything. My friend knew. And there is no one I know who's had any real, true intuition who ever bought it, who ever paid for a certification class. It's something you have. Yes, people can learn to follow their own intuition more, but nobody buys a gift with angels. Nobody buys mediumship. You know, it's really fascinating. You know, James on Prague, in our class I took with him, said everyone's psychic, but not everyone is a medium. And during the class I took with him, he was not certifying people as mediums, which is really good. Because when those people I had a 1-week course, I got tons and tons of readings from people. And there wasn't any person who stood across from me in a chair when they were supposed to be reading me who got a single hit. I had so many bad readings, it was insane. But I did pick something up on someone else, which was kind of unusual. And at that exact moment when I had that happen, I had James on Prague creep on up on me, grab my head, and tell me he loved the feel of me, which was kind of odd. But James on Prague has touted himself as having this gift, this natural gift, natural born, experiences in his childhood. And yet, he'd be more than fine with setting his fans to go see a woman who's going to certify them as having gifts they don't have. Now, I want each of you to think about the fact that if you want to say that you believe in real spiritual gifts, then you can't excuse fraud tied to people being certified in gifts they don't have. Nobody buys a gift of God. Nobody. Okay? And any medium, like James on Prague is now certifying people as like spiritual healer something or other. And he's got these certification classes for mediumships. And he's literally proving to us that he doesn't value this field and he doesn't care what's true. He'll certify any dipshit that gives him money, it seems. And he built that model, I believe. He seemed to model it right off of Doreen Virtue. I believe that James on Prague has some intuition. I don't believe Doreen Virtue does. But James on Prague is at the point he doesn't care what's true. He only cares what profits him. If other people do it and huckster people, why shouldn't he? But in that he shows us he doesn't hear heaven. You can have intuition and not hear heaven. You can have spiritual experiences that may not exactly be from the source you're claiming them from. But back to my story. When I saw Doreen Virtue at the event, before the event was all over, she gave out clearly wrong suicide information to a mother of an actively suicidal child. A black mother of a beautiful black son. Her second-born, I think it was her second-born son. He was like 19 and a half, 20 years old. And he had a whole bunch of stuff going on in his life. Doreen Virtue couldn't tell anything what was going on in his life. She kept, when the mother asked the question, the mother didn't want Doreen Virtue's help. Let me make it clear, everybody. She wanted John Holland's help. She asked for his insight. He should have said he either was getting something or not, but instead he passed the question to Doreen after highly touting credentials with seemingly bogus. She claims she has clinical psychiatry experience or psychology experience, and yet I haven't been able to affirm this hospital she claims she worked in exists. I haven't. It might have been exists. I have no idea. She claims incredible spiritual gifts over the top, and yet she says stuff that's clearly stupid and wrong. And yet he passed this question. He let Doreen give out wrong suicide information, told us where the black mother, and we all got told people who talk about suicide don't do it. They just want attention, they need counseling, but they don't ever do it. She spread one of the most deadly myths on suicide to a desperate mother of a son having repeated thoughts of wanting to take his life. That is so sick and disgusting. That is a complete and utter devaluation of human life. And John Holland didn't stop it because John Holland didn't care. He didn't care if a young black man died. He didn't care if anyone else in that room died because of lies. That is the business. I want you to start seeing this. This is New Age business, and this is not spirituality of God. This is when you can look that doing things in the New Age, like some of you are making comments that some people don't want to call out Doreen Virtue or Hay House too hard for the fraud and the hustle because they might want to get books published by Hay House. I want you to think about this. You know, I don't know who might come across my video, but I want you to think about why would you want to have your book published by a publisher who had clearly defrauded you and other people in the name of guardian angels by plugging Doreen Virtue stuff? Why would you want to sign up for a publishing house that if you sign up there is going to expect you to leave your most trusting fans to their publishing house and all their authors and never call out any of the wrong stuff that's there? Would you trade human life for a book deal? Would you trade children's lives for fame? Would you trade a mentally fragile person's future to go to Hay House? If you are watching this and you're finding yourself making choices for your New Age career, I want to bring you back to what is spiritual. Spiritual people who are walking in the value of other people's souls don't trade other people out for money while they lie to them or deceive them. That's not love, and you know it. If you know that you can't call Hay House Publishing to do the right thing by stopping fraud or giving your money back or dealing with clearly whacked out stuff that they have published, then why would you ever think that's where you need to go for a publishing deal? It's not. Anybody who wants to write a spiritual book, I want to encourage you to totally avoid Hay House Publishing and Balboa Press. Balboa Press is Hay House Publishing's vanity press arm. I'm going to be putting some information in the connects about that little hustle they run there. Okay? If you are saying you want to serve other people, you don't serve them up for harm. And stop using, any of you who are just using this I want to serve thing as just a virtue signaling while you trade on life or trade on other people's choices. You need to start evaluating what you're doing. Okay? You really, really need. When you look at Doreen Virtue, after that event, I contacted Hay House Publishing. I let them know what happened. I waited for them to get back. They did not get back. I got some like bogus kind of it responds via the automatic system or an email. I finally called and got a hold of a woman named Melissa, who confirmed exactly what I heard on suicides, what she heard. And Melissa told me that she didn't stop it because if she had, she'd be fired. So Melissa made the choice to devalue a young black man's life and everybody else in that room for a job with a spiritual publishing company. I want you to think about what New Age culture is doing to you without you even... If Donald Trump offered you a job for $50,000 a year, but you knew you had to play Russian roulette with 10 people, would you do it? Would you dare call it spiritual? Would you be more than happy to lead your trusting fans to where they'll be told to play Russian roulette with their children, where they'll be handed wrong medical information and told to apply it to their lives and to their children, and you know it could harm, and you know it could hurt, but you leave them there? It's important you guys think about this. Every single Hay House author seems to sell their complete moral obligation to other human beings out. They sell on human life in ways that no one who loves another person does. Love doesn't let the mentally fragile be led by Doreen Virtue to be told they're special as incarnated angels or mermaids or fairies or leprechauns. Love doesn't be quiet. Love doesn't lead there, and when love sees that, love calls it out. Love knows that a true gift isn't bought, so it doesn't even try to buy it. Even if it's told, hey, wait a minute, you could make some money, you could have a lifestyle, come on, everybody else is doing it. The everyone else is doing it aspect of the New Age doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it spiritual. It just makes a whole bunch of people who are pretending to be spiritual abusers in the name of the New Age. Now, that's the past. I mean, Doreen Virtue sat there, left stuff out, put stuff out. When I called her to take accountability, she threatened to sue me. I don't even know if she would threaten to sue me for writing Hay House about the wrong stuff that I was finding. I was going through her work. On my off time, when I wasn't working, I was going through her stuff and finding so much wrong stuff, so much that contradicted the Bible. Her telling people there are no fallen angels. Her telling people stuff that would invalidate the crucifixion of Christ. Her telling people foods that Jesus ate and fed others are low vibration. I was finding evidence that some of the statements she was making could harm people. Her anti-vaccine stuff could harm people. And yet, I presented it. And you would think if Hay House's Reed Tracy had 1 ounce of decency in him, he would have just dumped her and said, I can't do this anymore. He would have stopped making those excuses. But instead, I got a letter threatening to sue me. I have been personally threatened by a world international angel expert who claimed that she could hear my guardian angels and all of your guardian angels and heaven itself when I called her to take responsibility for her lies that derailed your lives and risked them. And I made that choice, that your lives meant more than anything in this world. I also knew I was telling the truth. So I knew if she sued me that I would get her on a cross-examination on a stand. And if she or Hay House Publishing got caught committing perjury in a stand and any lawsuit against me, Hay House might be mine. And I would seriously gut the thing. But I waited, and I kept writing Doreen Virtue, I kept writing John Holland, I kept calling them to integrity, I kept finding more wrong things. I got blocked by people on social media, but I never gave up. And I never gave up on calling them to accountability, to truth, and to caring about each of you. Each of you who is watching this, who is a New Age consumer, you matter to me. Your choices matter. You are my equal fellow human being and soul. And I have spent, September 22nd will be 5 years. I have called and consistently called for the value of your lives and your choices to be honored by Hay House and Doreen Virtue. And instead of doing the right thing, they just come up with non-stop hustles to try to huckster you for your money. Some of you are like, well, what do I do now? I've spent this money. If you spent money in the last 5 years, let me tell you, Reed Tracy knew Doreen Virtue was giving out wrong suicide information and kept plugging her. He knew it was plugging a fraud. He knew it full well. He just didn't care. Now, I've been watching for 5 years. I've watched all the things online socially that Doreen Virtue's been putting out, James on Prague's been putting out. I went and saw who the people James on Prague were promoting, were plugging. I found such a weave of farm, it's blown my mind that the skeptic atheists, I mean, they could knock the entire New Age out in a documentary just showing who plugs what. The never-ending theme is human life doesn't matter and New Age consumers' lives don't matter. And I've been watching all this, waiting for someone to do the right thing. And then I heard about Doreen Virtue had some video. It was in the spring, and someone told me that she had this video she put out about Jesus. And it was radical, and people were upset. And I wasn't following her weekly readings or any of that stuff. I just checked once in a while. And I went to go see it, and all I could see was comments on it. Not on her video, by the way, because as anyone knows who follows Doreen Virtue, she doesn't enable comments on her videos because she wouldn't be able to control that people would put negative comments that she couldn't just take down. And Doreen Virtue doesn't want to break the illusion that everyone thinks she's so spiritual or thinks she's wise. So she disables comments on her YouTube videos. And if you post anything that calls her to accountability or calls her to take responsibility for lies she's put out on her Facebook, she'll block you and take those comments down. Because she's not a woman who cares for truth. And she takes no responsibility. But back to the Jesus video, because that's why you're watching this, the Jesus thing. So I wanted to see what it was going to say. At first I was really kind of hopeful. I was really hopeful that if maybe she'd had any kind of spiritual experience at all, that I was going to see her admit publicly that she left me carrying of what if a young black man died. Because I'm the one that carried it. I'm the one who's carried it all these years of what if I didn't say the right thing or enough, and that mother in the end didn't get her son help and he kills himself. Or what I've been the one fighting all these years, fighting for her fraud to stop and her lives to stop. And I've been mortified watching your lives risk by Hay Houses, by what Doreen Virtue has put out and the other Hay House people. So I thought, well, maybe this is, maybe she'll take responsibility. A true miracle would be her saying she put wrong medical stuff out and it was wrong, and that she had no business ever making medical statements, and that she was walking away from it all. That she was going to figure out how to give partial refunds to people she had certified, and that she was going to do something. That would be what would be spiritual, taking responsibility. But whatever she put out, I didn't get to see it, because whatever it was, it had a reaction, and then all of a sudden it went down. And what I read of it was some people were really upset about her judgmentalness and her shift that she had put out. But then suddenly it was gone. And when I looked on her page, I continued to see her plugging divination. I continued to see her son hustling people with the crap that he runs. I didn't see any change in behavior. And then a couple weeks happened. I got told there was another Jesus video. So jumped right on it right away. I wasn't going to wait on this one. I thought, okay, what's with these videos she puts up and then pulls down? So I saw it. And I was mortified about the double messaging that she's doing, and about the little game she's doing with reading from the Bible and misrepresenting what's in there. So we're going to start with some basics. First of all, she said that mediumship was not of God, that it was forbidden by God, and she made it seem like the reason it was wrong is you're supposed to go direct to God. That's not exactly what the Bible entirely says. The Bible says mediums will defile you. It is about derailing your sacredness, making you unholy, and a contamination, you might say. Defilement, to be defiled, is not just to be assaulted or to be taken. It's a lot deeper than that. It's about taking that defective essence within you, and within it will blend in with you. All divination is forbidden in the Bible, but mediumship is considered in Judaism the most disgusting or the most abominable form of divination, when people attempt to contact the dead to find answers to the future. Doreen Virtue did not give an answer to mediumship that explained how she was doing it for all those years and selling it. Like, she was doing it for other people and selling mediumship certifications to people, where they would pay her $400, get a DVD set, pass a paper quiz, and she'd certify them as an angel medium. Which I don't think, even if mediumship was what they were claiming it was, that would do that. It was complete fraud against mediumship, whether or not you think mediumship is of God or not. Literally, it is. But nobody was having that conversation. So here's this woman who's a medium maker and has been claiming, she's been promoting mediumship, which she's now saying is forbidden by God, and she's been promoting it while she's been telling everybody she could see and hear their guardian angels. So we would have to believe that your guardian angels don't know shit, that they don't know the Bible, that they wouldn't have told her it was wrong, that they were perfectly fine with you being massively misled. I mean, her story doesn't line at all. She went on to talk about some of the changes in her life, and at one point she mentioned about being judged. And then she went into this story about how the Bible, she went to this Bible verse where she read one segment and she presented that you shouldn't judge so God won't judge you. And then she said, but Jesus doesn't judge anyone anyway. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. If Jesus doesn't judge anyone anyway, why would you be worried about Jesus' judgment ever? I mean, think, people, think. Logic, it lining. True spirituality lines. It has utter alignment. So this woman is presenting stuff like she's misreading the Bible, and as she goes on further, she's trying to manipulate her fan base, who she's made statements have judged her, and she's trying to make it look like they mustn't judge her or God's going to get them. I'm just going to say something really clearly. I have committed grave sins in my life. Anyone I've committed a sin to, I'm sorry, I let you down, I fucked up. But my sins are real. And anyone that I have sinned against has the right to say, I have sinned against them, that I have not treated them as I should have. And them saying that, particularly if I were to massively defraud people like Doreen Virtue's done, she has been running a guardian angel hustle. And now she wants to use Bible verses to try to say, oh no, you mustn't judge me or God's going to get you. Oh, fuck that. Excuse my language, people, but fuck that. That's not what's in there. What she presented is in there in the context of what it was. Does not say what she wants to make it look like. She wants to use the Bible as sword and shield illiberally and unspiritually. The Bible has clear verses that say when someone is committing spiritual fraud, you are to call it out clearly, loudly. She has been called out by me privately, so I can call her out publicly. Because when I called her out privately, she failed to address her fraud. Now she wants to try to play to all of you. You mustn't judge her. The Bible says you have the right to judge the conduct. Now I have no idea. She's a despicable, horrible being. She runs non-stop hustles in the name of the guardian angels. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if, I have no idea if she's going to heaven. Doesn't look like it at this rate, but I have no idea. And neither do you. And Doreen Virtue doesn't have any idea what's going to happen with you. You can sit there and call out every wrong thing she has done to you, and I guarantee you it's not going to cost you eternity. And God's not going to look bad at you for you saying out loud, this woman lied to me to hustle me for my money, and she told me stupid things in the name of my guardian angels. And if you all have the right to publicly say how much money you've spent on her decks, classes, and certifications, and to say she hustled you and it was wrong. In Christianity, we call out wrong stuff as wrong, and we believe in justice. When someone steals, they are supposed to bring the money back. If you go to a priest in the Catholic Church and you've stolen from someone, the priest is going to tell you to bring the item back. You're not going to be told you get to keep the item you stole and get forgiveness. And the Bible has many verses about the issue of when you have done wrong to your brother, making it right. Doreen Virtue did wrong by you. Her moral obligation is to make it right, not to try to use the Bible to slime out of accountability. She's a hustler, a liar, an abuser. She has more markers of borderline personality disorder with narcissist tendencies and sociopathy than she does of anyone who has ever had what the Catholic Church would call a true vision of God experience, or true, like she is claiming most of you don't seem to be getting that she is claiming she's having spiritual experiences all the time and seeing guardian angels all the time. The level of her conduct should be exemplary with no excuses. I want you to imagine if you really could see everyone's guardian angels, how would you ever dare do and say the things that Doreen Virtue has done? You wouldn't be able to. Now, some of you are like, but I have a business and I bought these decks and I have these certifications. And now Doreen Virtue is, 1 week she's saying mediumship's not of God. The next week when y'all want your money back, it looks like she's affirming the value of all of her spiritual gift certifications. The Bible says she can't sell a gift to God. the Bible. If she's saying the Bible's true, she can't say what she told you was valid. And one of the things you all should be looking at is the alignment, okay? Now, Doreen Virtue said something that was really fascinating. She was saying that she was hearing guardian angels, and she claimed she was a Christian, and she was speaking as an expert as she traveled around the United States. And I want a lot of you to think about how many times when you've gone to a hotel room, do they have a Bible on the nightstand? Like every hotel I've ever been at. So the Bible has been in the nightstand of Doreen Virtue's when she's been traveling all over the place, and she couldn't even bother to read it. I want you to think about that. She was preaching against it. She didn't value it. And I, for one moment, don't believe a word this woman says about all these claims. Because if she was really having these experiences, we would have wanted to see her. She would have looked to see, am I accurate? Am I reliable? Is what am I saying? How does it word to the... If she's claiming she's a Christian, the ultimate thing you line to is the Word of God. Not what's hip in the New Age. I'm just saying. So you look at what Doreen Virtue's doing now, and she's teaching the Bible, misrepresenting verses to suit her greed and ego, and she's committing clear simony and clear violation of divination, while she has told us all now she has fully read the Bible. So she can't say she's ignorant of what's in the Scripture. She is choosing to violate Scripture when it comes to simony. She is directly through Hay House. She said, for $499, any of you can buy an angel intuitive certification still. And she's going to Australia to do an angel intuitive class where she's going to certify people. And the Bible prohibits it entirely. And she's telling me all she thought of Jesus. The Bible forbids all divination. She's only telling you not to use certain of her decks. If she's going to align to the Bible, the answer is none of her decks. She tried to do this shift where she said she wasn't going to, she was using oracle decks and calling them divine messages while telling people that she's not doing prediction. She's using the oracle deck as an oracle deck. She's trying to find a loophole to keep playing the decks, and it was wrong. And it is no wonder some of you are absolutely freaking confused about what it means when someone claims to be a Christian and claims that they've had a vision of Jesus and they're going to walk in alignment of the Bible when you look at what she's doing. Simony is an endgame sin, people. The Bible specifically says if you believe the Bible is 100% true, and she's made bolder claims on the Bible than I have. I wouldn't tell you that everything in the Bible called holy, I believe is holy. There's sections in there where if your daughter gets raped, one of the ways they handled it was that the rapist could offer you to marry your virginal daughter and case settled. I wouldn't call that holy. There are a lot of stuff in there that I got a lot of issues with. I believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm a little hesitant to she's given bolder statements of support on the Bible than I have. And yet, in the New Testament, it says very clearly, in terms of simony, the punishment would be eternal death. So, I know this is a bit long, and some of you be like, well, it might be a little bit rambly, but I want you to start thinking about what she does, what she claims. There should not be one stupid, wrong thing that comes out of her work. If she's got guardian angels fact-checking her as she's going. And as soon as she was told anything she had done derailed or risked life, there should have been reflection. But there was none. Now, I see that some of you are looking to, going to keep using your decks. You're going to stay in mediumship because, she's saying she's just not going to do mediumship. And she's not saying other people can't do mediumship. You're going to use your decks because, she just told you not to use certain of her decks. And you're going to keep running your spiritually based businesses where you charge people. And I'm just going to tell you what Christianity says. Christianity, you can't buy a gift of God. So all of your spiritual gift certifications are invalid. And all of you, I believe you bought it in the last 5 years. I brought this stuff up to read Tracy. So if you've gotten hustled in the last 5 years and you were led to Doreen Virtue by Hay House, you should be able to make a case that they clearly defrauded you. So in Christianity, you can't buy a gift of God. So all of your spiritual gift certifications are invalid. Your deck reading certificates in terms of learning a method to read her deck, well, how is she supposed to follow the Word of God and say divination is holy? I mean, how is she supposed to sit there? The Word of God says divination is not holy, it is forbidden, and yet say that her certificates certifying you in the angels is doing divination and God being holy or valid. It doesn't lie. To say that she's following the Bible means to reject all of the wrong things that she's done completely and to take responsibility, which means admitting that she has to admit she lied to you in the name of angels. Because she doesn't get to claim she has a true gift with angels and massively derailed you and misled you, and angels didn't tell her, and yet you should trust anything she says. And with her decades of going through the New Age and seemingly taking other people's concepts, throwing twists on them, and then presenting them as from the angels, she has a spiritual cultural appropriation thing where she grabs these ideas, puts them into product, and markets them and talks as if she's an expert. This is a woman who has not gone through a period of taking any real responsibility how she's derailed you. She's going up there now talking about she has no business teaching the Bible. She does not live the Bible. She is committing an endgame sin directly. Simony. She is speaking from the Bible and positioning herself as a Bible teacher to, over 200,000 people follow her on YouTube. She has over 1 million Facebook fans, and she's reading from the Bible when she doesn't even know basic Christianity. And she's once again speaking as an expert when she doesn't even have a grasp on what she's saying. And she's spinning it into a market potential. It's the same egotism. It's the same level of defilement. It's like an addict. Doreen Virtue has addictive tendencies, and I know that she had addiction issues in her past, and she is just shifting where she's putting the harm in, and there's nothing, none of you should be accepting this as spiritual. She doesn't get to just plug mediumship for, decades? I don't even know if it was a decade, or maybe it was decades, I don't know. She doesn't get to plug, she tells you all she hasn't done mediumship, and she hasn't been doing mediumship in years, and she hasn't been promoting this, and yet I can show you all the videos of her in June, where she was at a Hay House event, where she shared the stage with James on Prague, and they were all chummy, and they plugged a mediumship divination deck. That is plugged as mediumship. So she has plugged mediumship in the last 2 months. Or she can say that the oracle deck she did with James on Prague is not mediumship. She doesn't get to walk and make up facts. She shifts more than the Trump White House. Whatever fits her narrative to line her pocket to suit her ego is where she's going. Now I know this is kind of long, but for those of you who have gotten caught up in the stuff that she's doing, I'd like you to write down why. Maybe get a journal and just like a notebook and just write down what led you to Doreen Virtue, what you saw that you rejected and you knew didn't make sense, wasn't right, could harm others. And why, when you saw that evidence, did you keep believing in her? This is important work for you to do. This is work you need to do as a soul, because she didn't get to huckster all of you without your all having a buy-in. She didn't get me, but she got a lot of you. And I know the best way I can help some of you who have been taken is to help you deal with the issues of how did you get taken and how were you responsible to some degree. Now, when I say responsible, that doesn't mean that Doreen Virtue didn't lie to you, didn't defraud you, and you don't deserve your money back. But at the point that you saw things weren't right, you blew off your own intuition. You blew off your own mind. And I know that the New Age trains you to do that. But I'd like to encourage each and every single one of you to accept that you are body, mind, heart, and soul. And you were never meant to leave the mind